Today we have some more actual history about the Western country back in the 1860s. In a recent episode on this channel, we read Governor Evans' reply to the report about the Battle of Sand Creek. He mentioned the captivity of Mrs. Lucinda Eubanks along with her children after her husband and the other men of their wagon train were killed by Cheyenne Indians in 1864. Governor Evans did not go into detail about Mrs. Eubanks' captivity, so here's the statement she made after she returned from captivity in May of 1865. Statement of Mrs. Eubanks giving an account of her captivity among the Indians. She was taken by the Cheyennes and was one of the prisoners proposed to be given up by Black Kettle, White Antelope, and others in the council at Denver. Mrs. Lucinda Eubanks states that she was born in Pennsylvania, is 24 years of age. She resided on the Little Blue at or near the Narrows. She says that on the 8th day of August 1864, the house was attacked, robbed, burned, and myself and two children, with her nephew and Miss Roper, were captured by the Cheyenne Indians. Her eldest child at the time was 3 years old. Her youngest was 1 year old. Her nephew was 6 years old. When taken from her home, she was, by the Indians, taken south across the Republican, and west to a creek the name of which she does not remember. Here for a short time was their village or camping place. They were traveling all winter. When first taken by the Cheyennes, she was taken to the lodge of an old chief, whose name she does not recollect. He forced me by the most terrible threats and menaces to yield my person to him. He treated me as his wife. He then traded me to Two-Face, a Sioux, who did not treat me as a wife, but forced me to do all the menial labor done by squaws, and he beat me terribly. Two-Face traded me to Blackfoot, another Sioux, who treated me as his wife. And because I resisted him, his squaws abused me and ill-used me. Blackfoot also beat me unmercifully, and the Indians generally treated me as though I was a dog, on account of my showing so much detestation towards Blackfoot. Two-Face traded for me again. I then received a little better treatment. I was better treated among the Sioux than the Cheyennes. That is, the Sioux gave me more to eat. When with the Cheyennes, I was often hungry. Her purchase from the Cheyennes was made early last fall, and she remained with them until May 1865. During the winter, the Cheyennes came to buy me and the child for the purpose of burning us, but Two-Face would not let them have me. During the winter, we were on the North Platte. The Indians were killing all the whites all the time and running off their stock. They would bring in the scalps of the whites and show them to me and laugh about it. They ordered me frequently to wean my baby, but I always refused, for I felt convinced that if he was weaned they would take him from me, and I should never see him again. They took my daughter from me just after we were captured, and I never saw her after. I have seen the man today who had her. His name is Davenport. He lives in Denver. He received her from a Dr. Smith. She was given up by the Cheyennes to Major Wynkoop, but from injuries received while with the Indians, she died last February. My nephew also was given up to Major Wynkoop, but he too died at Denver. The doctor said it was caused by bad treatment from the Indians. Wilston camped on the North Platte. Captain Murphy came to the village, and I went with him and Two-Face to Fort Laramie. I have heard it stated that a story has been told by me, to the effect that Two-Face's son had saved my life. I never made any such statements, as I have no knowledge of any such thing, and I think if my life had been in danger, he would have not troubled himself about it. Signed, Lucinda Eubanks, Julesburg, Colorado Territory, June 22, 1865. So that was Mrs. Eubanks' own account of her captivity from August of 1864 through May of 1865. She gives a very direct account of how she was purchased by several different Indians, and how they treated her. I am now going to read her Find a Grave website biography, which provides a few more details about her captivity, and her life afterwards. Lucinda Walton was first married to William Eubank. On August 7, 1864, William Eubank, his father Joseph Sr., and a number of other family members were killed by Indians along the Little Blue River at the Narrows, near what is now Oak, Nebraska. Lucinda, her two children, and a neighbor, Miss Laura Roper, were taken captive. Lucinda was held captive until May of 1865, and released near Fort Laramie, Wyoming. along with her infant son, William Joseph Eubank. Earlier, her older daughter, Isabel Eubank, along with several other captives, were released in western Kansas or eastern Colorado, but Isabel died before her mother was released. On March 28, 1866, in Adams County, Illinois, she married James L. Bartholomew. He died in the 1880s. On June 28, 1893, in Vernon County, Missouri, she married Dr. D. F. Atkinson. He died in 1907. Her son, William Joseph Eubank, lived in the McCune, Kansas area until sometime shortly after 1910, when he and his family moved to Pierce in Weld County, Colorado. Mrs. Eubanks would die at the age of 72 in 1913. Her husband, William J. Eubanks' find-a-grave profile says that his father and most siblings were also killed in the Cheyenne attack along the Little Blue River. Along with his father, Joseph Eubank Sr., 5 of his siblings are listed as dying in the attack: Joseph Eubank Jr., Fred Eubank, Dora Eubank, James Eubank, and Henry Eubank. Lucinda Eubank's son, William Joseph Eubank, died at the age of 71 in Greeley, Colorado in 1935. His find-a-grave profile says that he and his mother were freed from captivity at Fort Laramie in exchange for a certain quantity of ammunition. So that's it for this episode. This attack on the Eubank family was one of the motivating factors for the attack on the Cheyenne Indians at Sand Creek. Let us know what you think about this attack in the comments. This channel is called Unworthy History because we cover actual history that has been cast aside as unworthy to talk about on history channels on TV. Here on this channel, we try to bring this worthy history back to life by reading directly from old books. If you'd like to support our mission here at this channel, then you can join our Patreon page or become a YouTube channel member. Members will have full access to our members-only videos, and your contribution will be recognized at the end of each episode. So if you want to see more episodes like this, then be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Unworthy History.